See this beautiful hand-carved pipe? See this beautiful pedal? Both created by the same guy, Brian Mena. And they confirm for me, once again, that often people who are inventive, creative, artful, and have a lot of style are that way no matter what they're doing or making. Thanks, Brian. go. Well, if you know me, I tend to affect a certain kind of blasé attitude about effects. Yeah, I love pedals. Yeah, it's a lot of fun playing with different pedals, but pedals are pedals. Play what you enjoy. There's lots of pedals that can do lots of things. You can play great, record really well with this pedal or that pedal. It's fun to obsess about it, but that's really more about style and more about the gearhead thing than it is about musical substance. But there are certain pedal builders, and one in particular, that kind of turned me into a bit of a embarrassing gearhead fanboy. And Brian Mena and Menatone pedals is one of them. First of all, the second boutique pedal I ever bought and the very first Overdrive I ever bought was a Menatone Working Man's Blue, and I think that was back around 2000 or 2001. And the reason I bought it was simple. I lined up a whole ton of boutique Overdrives in the store making music in Chicago, and I played them all, and there was one that just sounded more interesting, more dynamic. I actually didn't know what it was attempting to emulate, and Brian is, of course, arguably, I don't even think it's arguable. As far as I know, he's the guy who invented the amp-in-a-box concept, but he certainly, if he isn't the only guy who did it first, he's among the first, and he's one of the guys who really popularized it and did it right. But I didn't even know that the Working Man's Blue was a JTM 45, I hope I have that right, in a box, but it had this just dynamic quality and this mid-range voicing with tons of character, and I used the hell out of it. And man, I wish I still had it. Over the years, I've had so many incredible Menatone pedals, and I've held on to some, and I wish I'd held on to all of them, but you know what happens. You need money. But this one's not going anywhere. Neither is the new Fish Factory. What I think is going on here is that, as it seems to have always been the case, Brian evolves his pedals, and he continually is tuning things and taking what he's learned from previous evolutions of them. This here kind of combines some of the elements of some of his earlier Marshall voice pedals that emulated the Bluesbreaker, emulated Plexis, and emulated later sort of hot-rodded Marshall sounds, higher gain sounds, like the King of the Britons, like the Working Man's Blue. And he's combined that all into one pedal that is remarkably simple to use. It's got 6 knobs on top, 2 gain stages, a very, very well-voiced 3-band EQ, and inside there's a switch that enables you to go from a more old-school Marshall mode, a more of a JTM-type 45-type mode where the bottom end is a little bit more expansive and looser and there's a little bit more sag, to a tighter, more hot-rodded sort of 70s Marshall sound. You heard the latter first, and then I switched the switch, and now you're hearing, and I have left it that way for the moment, the sort of looser sound, which has a different character to it, is equally useful. And there's a huge gain range in here, and the fact that we've got 2 gain stages independently controllable, cascading into each other, really, really opens up some tonal possibilities and some musical applications that wouldn't be there otherwise. And basically, this pedal does the full range of Marshall voice sounds, but I almost hesitate to limit it in that way, because you can get sounds here that are not immediately and specifically identifiable as Marshall sounds. They're just good. But this is a dual distortion that has tremendous character and power and always seems to sit really well in the mix across the gain range. And part of that has to do with the voicing on the EQ. Let's just check out the ranges here. This gain stage right here, when cranked, leaves you with a lot of string-to-string definition. Roll this one back. Roll this guy up. that one gives you the nasty, the saturation, the wonderful harmonic overtones, and you kind of play with the two to find just an unlimited number of sounds. So at 12 o'clock on both of them, you've got a really beautiful balance of heft and clarity along with just that. So that's even without touching the EQ dials. Everything here sounds very amp-like in the best sense, and I have compared this with a couple really, really high-quality master volume gain channels, and have found that not only can I get sounds that are as pleasing to me sonically, but in many ways are much easier to dial in for a live or studio mix with the pedal into a clean amp or a slightly breaking up amp. It works great for that too. Nothing's hyped, nothing's exaggerated, and yet there's plenty of nasty, there's plenty of saturation for really sustaining lead tones, beautiful, controllable musical feedback, and all-out mayhem if that's what you're looking for. Let's check out the maximum here with both of them cranked. Tons of saturation, but still a lot of clarity and character. It doesn't disappear into a bunch of mush. There's also, by the way, a gain trimmer inside, so you can adjust the gain range. I just left it stock. There's plenty available, and yet I'm able to really easily dial in great low gain tones. If we go all the way down on these, not all the way, but close to it, we can not only get kind of a colored boost type sound with very little clipping, but we can get some just stellar low gain sounds. And the cranked lead tones also really have that dynamic response that you associate with cranked plexi sounds, particularly Jimmy sounds. There's a particular kind of compression and a little bit of a fuzzy edge to them that you immediately recognize, and yet it doesn't sound like a caricature. It's very expressive. The response to volume knob roll-off is as good as I've seen or heard. Stacking ability is fantastic. Let's have a quick look at, if we go middle gain here, at the EQ. Low end, chunky. But never muddy, and it gets tighter, as I say, in the when you flip the switch inside for the other mode. Mid-range, lots of that upper mid push that really is the Marshall sound. And that's the Marshall voice. That's where the expressive part is. And you can just dial that in beautifully for your rig, or you can scoop it out a little bit, go up here and down here, and get like neck pickup, for instance. Get very percussive sounds, even at higher gain. And then the high end, again, is more about string clarity and sitting in the mix than trying to take anybody's head off. Even cranked, it can make a dark neck humbucker work great for power chords. Or or take a little bit of the harshness out of a bright neck pickup. So just very well voiced, what you'd expect from Menatone in general. The King, I'm just going to make an argument that for me, it is the ideal Marshall voice distortion, which is generally what I like out of my distortions and overdrive sounds. It covers a huge amount of range, and you can very easily, and this is important to me, set it up for your max gain that you want, roll back a little bit here, and then all it takes is some little adjustments on the volume knob and pickup selection to get the full range of overdrive sounds that I want and distortion sounds that I want across a set that might vary a great deal stylistically and in terms of its dynamics. And it is a very pleasurable and easy pedal to play. I've been using it now for, I think it's over a month. I really wanted to take some time because I wanted to do it justice, and I've been using it on a wide variety of gigs and sessions across all kinds of music, from funk lead work and old school soul and R&B chording to heavier rock stuff, to hip hop stuff, to experimental improvisational stuff where I need all kinds of strange and dynamic and edgy sounds, and it's all there and very easy to get. Yes, it's beautifully built, as is all Brian's stuff. And man, this pipe, you got to take a look at it. I probably should have said more about it. For those of you who smoke pipes or just like them because they're beautiful objects, you should check out what Brian's been up to. He's making some of the most beautiful pipes I've ever seen. This is an original design and shape that he made especially for me. It's blue, which I dig, has a beautiful marbled blue finish. It kind of matches nicely with my guitar, which was part of the point. And it draws perfectly. I can't say enough of it. This is the second one I've gotten from Brian. If you look through when I demoed the Fish Factory, I had another beautiful hand-carved briar pipe, and it's fantastic. I love pipe shapes that sit upright. Yes, you can put them down while you're smoking them, though why would you want to? Yeah. Amazing stuff, and stuff that also just happens to work perfectly for me. Doesn't mean it'll work perfectly for you. As you know, what I try to demo is good stuff that I would use confidently and feel is musical and well built. But some things are just right for me, and some other things may be just right for you. Man, this stuff right here, just right for just Nick. Till next time.